Welcome to On the Bauble podcast, episode 19. I'm your host, Sebastian J. Ueda, and with me, my co-host, Yuki Lee Bender. Today, we're going to be taking a look into the 2023 organized play announcement LSS made last week and give you our thoughts. I know this is a week late, but I was given the opportunity to commentate for the Asian Poker Tour last week, and I couldn't say no to that opportunity. So I couldn't record last week, which is why this episode got delayed 1 week. But before we talk into the main topic, how was your week, Yuki?
My week's been pretty good. Just finishing up work. I'm officially done now until the new year. So I have a couple weeks off and just sort of catching up on everything, doing my Christmas shopping, which I haven't started, and that sort of thing. Relaxing a little bit. But yeah, it's been not too much flesh and blood. We played an armory. We drafted WTR and Arcane Rising, which was pretty fun. But outside of that, I haven't really been playing a whole lot of Fab.
How did you do in that event?
I ended up going 2-1 in WTR. I drafted a kind of mid-rangey Katsu deck. It had a lot of the surging whelming line, as well as some D-reacts. And the two games where it felt like my deck did what I wanted it to do, the deck felt very powerful. And then I had another game where I was just kind of drawing I think I had 5 or 6 red/yellow surgings, and I just didn't draw any of them for 4 turns or something. I was just drawing blue 2 blocks, and blue 2 blocks is not a good way to win the game.
Yeah, Katsu has a lot of 2 blocks, so it can go wrong pretty quickly.
Yeah. Or it might be I guess not literally just blue 2 blocks because I don't have that many blues, but it might be some D-reacts, some a yellow whelming, but no surging to go with it. And it's just, not much to be done with those hands.
Yeah, that makes sense. How was your arc draft?
My arc draft was a little bit of a funny one. We had 12 people, so I was put in a 4-person pod, and the other pod was a pod of 8. I lost my first round to a Kano. I only had AB1, and a decent Kano deck when you have AB1 is pretty tough. I was playing Dash. I think I had Nullrune Chest or something like that. It was kind of a close game, but I ended up getting burned out by Kano, and then somebody dropped, so I didn't play the last 2 rounds. I learned how to play Netrunner though, and that was pretty fun. I had never played Netrunner before. It's a living card game that was popular a little while back, and now I think the community is putting out sets for it now, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. It was fun.
I'm gonna get into Netrunner now. Be a Netrunner world champion.
No, I don't think so. It was fun to learn, and I might play it here and there if there's a group of our locals that play Netrunner a bunch, and I don't know, if one of them asks me, I might try it a couple more times, but it's just hard to play too many different card games. I feel like I barely have time for Flesh and Blood and work, and then just life.
That's fair.
How was your week? I know that you mentioned that you were doing the poker casting. How did that go?
Yeah, my good friend Greg, he has a YouTube channel called Greg Goes All In. It's a lot bigger than our channel, obviously, but he sometimes does casting for the APT, and this time he was invited to do remote commentary, and he gave me the opportunity to commentate with him, basically from his studio, and that was really fun. I don't know how to say this. It was just I think doing it with Greg was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, trying new things it's a great opportunity, and I learned a lot of things. Man, just doing a podcast where we can keep on editing things out if we say something, or there's these blanks that we have in the podcast sometimes where we can edit it out. But when we're commentating live on YouTube, you can't do that. You just have to keep on talking. You just have to keep on going, essentially. And that was a little bit difficult.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a different, even though it seems kind of similar, they are quite different. And whenever you have that sort of live element, even if it is recorded, it's a lot less forgiving for sure.
Yeah. But, luckily there was on one of the days there was a really active comment section. So that really helped. And we just interacted with the comment section a lot, and it was fun.
So would you cast Flesh and Blood given the opportunity to do so?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I think, yeah, you know what? I think if it was an opportunity to do so, maybe I would give it a try. I don't know how much it would have to be worth it. Like I would need to be paid some number of dollars to do it. I can't imagine commentating or doing something like that for free.
Yeah, I I think I can understand that because you'd rather just play the event at that point, right?
Exactly, exactly. Like the commentating has to pay more than what I think that I can get out of both like the enjoyment level and the monetary level of like playing that actual tournament.
So in classic J fashion, it's all about the EV.
Yeah, whichever one has the higher EV, I would probably do. Cause like honestly, watching a game that you have like a good level of commitment in and like talking about it, it's pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah, totally. I can definitely see the appeal of casting. I've done it once or twice, and it's pretty fun.
Oh, actually, before I move on to the main topic, last week we didn't have the episode because my schedule was literally hell. And I just want to talk about it real quick because so typically, like, we do our recordings on Monday, what is it, 9 p.m. right now? And we record for like 2 hours usually. And then I edit on Tuesday night and then release it on Wednesday. But when I was commentating the APT, literally, I was like, okay, I go to work in the morning. I go straight to Greg's house. I take a 3 hour nap or 4 hour nap. And then we commentate from 1 a.m. to about 7 a.m. or like 6 a.m. And then I go straight to work. And then I go back straight to Greg's place, take a nap, and do the same thing.
Oh, so you didn't have any time off work to do this? Okay, that's fair enough. It's not always easy to get a week off work, but yeah, that's a lot to take on for sure. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
which is the biggest reason why we didn't do the the episode last week. Yeah, no sleep, just tank, 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 work, work, work. But
Yeah,
now I have Christmas money.
at least there's an upside, and yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It just doesn't sound very manageable.
Okay, well, let's move on. So the organized play, they finally made the announcement for the 2023 organized play announcement. The only thing that was released before this announcement was the ProQuest season that was going to happen on mid-January. But looks like they announced events all the way up to Battle Hardened Charlotte, which is in March. So we got like the first quarter of the events for next year. But before we go into that, what isn't changing, I guess, would be the first question to ask.
Yeah, so in a lot of ways, 2023 I think is going to look pretty similar to what we've had in 2022. We still have, all the same. I think all the events are pretty much the same. We still have like skirmish, armories, pre-releases at the tier one events. Then we have like our Battle Hardened, Procrast, Road to Nationals, and those all still feed into the same tournaments. We still have nationals calling, Pro Tour Worlds. So the overall structure and kind of like shape of all these events and how you qualify for everything is not changing at all, and that's all staying completely intact. So there's like no new systems to learn.
Yeah, and looks like the one thing that is changing a little bit would be the prize money. So, well, prize money doesn't change for exactly the World Championships, which gets a lot of $300,000, which is a lot of money. But the Pro Tour is, I don't know how do I want to say this. So there's only going to be one Pro Tour. That was one of the announcements they made for the 2023. Is they're only going to be releasing one PT in 2023. But that one PT is getting a $200,000 prize pool.
Yeah. So this is essentially last year it was still $200,000 prize pool for Pro Tour. This year is the same, but rather than being split across PT New Jersey and PT Lille, which were both 100,000, we're just going to have one Pro Tour. We've been told that it's in the United States sometime in March, April, but more than that we don't know. But that's going to have the whole $200,000 prize pool. So that PT will be worth close to Worlds, I guess.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And part of the reason that they kind of give a few reasons for cutting down to one Pro Tour. They talk about kind of responding to players saying that they've been fatigued and there's been too many events. And then also partially because it seems like they're really wanting to line up set releases with the major tournaments. So like World Championship, PT, and Nationals, they're wanting to line those up a little bit better this year with the release of their new sets, which I think is really logical and a great change.
Yeah, so you want to get a little bit more into it about the 3 seasons that we're going to have?
Yeah. So Essentially, how it works is there's a season starting from March until June, and that will be with the Outsiders set that we have announced. We don't know too much about it except that it's a draftable set. We know that there's going to be a big pinnacle event, which is the Pro Tour in the United States. And then we also know that there's going to be what they're calling seasonal programs. So there'll be a Road to National season to get ready for Nats, as well as Skirmish. And that will be happening from March until June. You can kind of extrapolate some dates, like Outsiders is March 20,
Fourth.
24th, is it? Yeah, 24th. So they probably won't release it right away. They won't do the PT right away because people need time to get their cards and playtest. So maybe like mid-April, early May is probably what we're looking at there. And that will be kind of one season. And then rather than tacking on like multiple qualifiers or multiple big events with that outsider set, they're going to let it breathe a little bit, and they'll wait until we get our new set in July and September, and that one will focus on the national champs and another skirmish season. And then when we get our third and final set for the year in October or January, we'll have world champs as well as ProQuest starting. So that'll be ProQuest for the, I guess, 2024 Pro Tour.
Yeah, that's it's like a lot less events than what we had this year, right?
Well, it's essentially one less Pro Tour and maybe, I think, one less skirmish season.
Yeah, so one less Pro Tour, but that also means one less PQ season, and then
Mm-hmm.
one less skirmishes. So we get like at the local level, we get two less big events.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like this year, when I do think about it though, we had a lot of events like every single, not every week, but like it felt like there was something to do every month.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot to do, and I think that could be a good or bad thing depending on your perspective. Overall, did you feel like it was too many events from this year that we're just wrapping up?
I think in my experience, it did feel like a little bit too much. So like typically when I was playing like other card games, I would have time to like basically organize to go to like a Magic event, a Pokemon event, then like a White Shorts event, then something else. But during the Flesh and Blood like competitive season, it was just like, oh, I have a skirmish to go to. Oh, I have a pro quest to go to. Okay, I have a skirmish to go to. I have a pre-release to go to. I have a skirmish to go to. And it's just like, okay, like I just didn't have really time to like play some other events. I still ended up playing like a couple of like Magic regional qualifiers. Not regional qualifiers. That's not what it's called now. Ooh.
Regional Championship qualifiers, is that what they're called? RCQ?
RCQs, yes, regional championship qualifiers. I got to play a couple of those, but most of the other weeks were like, now that I think about it, it was like all flesh and blood.
Yeah, it was definitely really demanding, and I think that I think it's not to say that they couldn't do two pro tours, but I think that the way that everything played out, where like at the start of the year, it was kind of manageable. We had like the PQ season that started like maybe a little bit late in February, and then we had a gap until Pro Tour in New Jersey, and that was pretty okay. And then we had like a new set come out. We had Uprising come out in June, and then we had like the whole Road to National season in sort of, I guess, July, then PT. So like all of that felt pretty okay. But I think it really got kind of when we had PT Lille end of August, followed by nationals for some people like a week after PT Lille, right? Or maybe 2 or 3 weeks if you had like a later nationals, is just probably not really enough time. And then even Worlds coming out a month or 5 weeks after, something like that, after national season was, I guess depending on when your nationals was again, is a really small turnaround. And I think having all three of those premier level events as well as qualifiers to them all jammed in there just ended up really, really being a lot. Yeah. I'll be curious to see how this feels. I could see three being the right amount, or at the very least, they might need to think about how those are spread throughout the season if they want to fit a fourth one.
Yeah, I think like a comparison to make would be like with the Magic, like the MTG OP system, not in the last couple of years, but maybe like pre-pandemic. It was like 3 Pro Tours a year plus Worlds, I think, or maybe was it 4? I think it was 3.5 PTs a year, something like that. But what the biggest difference was that we didn't have nationals in Magic. and we didn't have, and Worlds was not applicable to the regular human.
Right.
Because in Magic, it was I think 16 players or something that only qualified and that got to play Worlds. And to like everybody else, it just wasn't an event that people could even get close to qualifying.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and in Flesh and Blood we had 4 events, but like we started in March or something, right?
Yeah, I think we started like in February for ProQuest season, and I think it might have stretched until the end of March. So it was like it was a little bit late. I feel like if they really want to fit in if they want to fit into Pro Tours, they would need to start kind of in January, I think,
Yeah,
with the ProQuests. But I'm pretty happy to do this like one Pro Tour, one Worlds, one Nationals, and just see how that feels this year. And I think we'll know if that's the right amount or if it makes more sense to fit in another one. But I'll say that I think having 3 major events with 3 major sets makes a lot of sense. I don't think the way that Flesh and Blood has kind of handled their set releases has been ideal. I know that there's been like product delays and all of that, but even outside of that, just having ProQuest Season 1 and then Pro Tour New Jersey and then ProQuest Season 2, all of the same Starvo format it was a lot. It felt kind of like back to back. And by the time we got to the second ProQuest season, I think people were kind of tired of the format. They had kind of had enough. Perhaps not the greatest format either. I know not everyone was a fan of it, but I think even outside of that, it's a lot of events to hang off of one format. And I think we have the same thing kind of like with Dynasty Draft, just being a little bit overtaxed because it was
Uprising
PT
Draft.
Leo. Sorry, thank you. Yeah, Uprising Draft. Just a little overtaxed, right? Like we had it for PT Leo, Nationals, Road to Nationals as well, actually, and Worlds. It's just a lot for one draft format.
Yeah, we had now that I think about it, yeah, Uprising Draft for 4 like major tournaments. That's a lot.
So I think that, slowing things down a little bit and making it line up with set releases is a great idea. And I know that they've mentioned that they're working on expanding to 4 sets per year, like three draftable, one expansion is sort of what they're hoping to do down the road. And I could see maybe going back up to 4 major events if there's appetite for it once we get there. But I think for now, just taking it slow makes a lot of sense.
Okay, I guess before we move on, how did you feel about the OP this year for yourself? Because like for myself, I didn't play either of the PTs, and it felt like it felt a lot to me, which I didn't even play the PTs. So, what about you, Yuki? What was your personal experience on this schedule?
Yeah, it was just way too much. I think specifically the tail end, like PT1, even PT2 was not too bad, but just like jumping straight in from PT2 to Nationals to Worlds was a ton to take on. And even the qualifier seasons felt like just like you finish an event. I think when Pro Tour in New Jersey finished, I think ProQuest season 2 was already beginning. Like I think it was on the weekend of Pro Tour New
Yes,
Jersey.
yes, it's actually really funny because the best event to play, at least from like our perspective as like non PT players, was that one weekend when all the good players were at the PT. If you had PT players in your obviously in your local meta, you just got to play the pro quest that didn't have the good players in it was the one to win.
Yeah. So just a little bit jam packed overall. I think it
Yeah,
was just too much going on and not enough time. And I'm a pretty big fan of this change. I definitely have been feeling the burnout and again, mostly just like it's wild that you think about Leal till Worlds in 2 months, 2.5 months, and you have nationals in the middle of that too. It's just like all the big events within nine
three
weeks or
months.
10 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10 weeks, 11 weeks.
crazy.
Yeah, and we didn't even include the callings
Yeah, I personally wasn't really able to travel to Collings. We went to the Uprising. What do they call it? World premiere.
premiere yet.
That was in Vegas, but that was the only calling that I personally went to that wasn't attached to a Pro Tour or Worlds, at least.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess we should just talk about the calling changes this year.
Yeah, I think they mentioned that this past year that callings have, I believe they ran 30 callings. They're wanting to run more than that. But of course, the challenge is how do you run more without increasing the prize pool and just expanding costs? And one thing that they're doing to address this is they're making 3 tiers of callings based on the estimated number of players for that event. So they'll kind of do an estimation of how many people they think are likely to attend, and then there will be either a 10,000 for up to 300, a 20,000 for 300 to 600, or 30,000 for over 600 players. And that way they can actually run a larger number of callings this year and service a wider number of areas too, right? Because there's maybe some areas that don't have the population to have a really, really big calling. And then do you want to give that area, how many callings do you want to give that area? That's like the full big prize pool. Whereas if there's different tiers of like different size callings, I guess is the best way to put it. Not different tiers, but just different sizes. It just gives more opportunity
Wait,
for
sorry,
everyone.
you said there was no, there was only 12 callings in
Was there only
20.
12?
There's 12, yeah. There's 12 callings, there's 30 battle hardens.
Oh, okay, I'm getting it mixed up. So 30 battle hardens, they want to do 50, and then there was 12 callings, and they want to do
More.
more. I
Yeah.
don't think they've given us a hard number on it.
Yeah, they didn't give us any hard numbers, but they just said they're like, trying to allow more regions to have callings, which please, West Coast, like West Coast calling, please. It's like Seattle. I'm okay with Seattle, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting because I know that people like to talk about like how certain areas aren't as served, like Asia has not necessarily been as well served, and like parts of Europe maybe recently has been like a little bit better, but for quite a while wasn't being so well served by events. But I think what people don't realize is that North America is not is not all equal. if you're in like if you're on like the east side of Canada or the United States or like the Midwest or even like Central, you have a lot of events available to you because a lot of them kind of take place in that like Indianapolis, Columbus, like Midwest kind of area, and a lot of it's accessible. Even if like it might be like a 2 hour flight or an 8 hour drive, but for us, those are 4 or 5 hour flights. You're pretty much going across the country, which means you need a whole day to travel at that point because there's only so many times that like you can't get flights at just any time. So yeah, the West Coast has not been particularly well served. There's been a few events in Vegas, and that's kind of the closest thing that we've gotten.
Yeah, Vegas and San Jose. Both of those was though like that area is great too because the flights are relatively cheap to get to. Unlike the the eastern United States where you're looking at like $500 flights sometimes.
Absolutely, I know that, and I know that a lot of the folks from Seattle and Portland, we've kind of talked about them. We often travel down there for ProQuests or Road to Nationals, and they've kind of expressed the same thing that the Pacific Northwest could use some callings, and maybe having the option to have a smaller calling is a way to make that happen because I think that there's a lot of players there, even if it's not quite as many as in the Midwest.
Yeah, we have a lot of strong players on this side. Just let us have some events. We had one Battle Hardened, which man, I was super sad when I couldn't go. But yeah. Well, either way, what was I gonna say next? I was gonna say something, which is oh yeah, looks like I just double checked just now. They are reducing the total money given out to callings this year. It used to be 300K for 2022. This year looks like it's gonna be 200K.
Okay, have they increased nationals? Is that why?
No, I think they're increasing Battle Hardened. So this year, the prize money for the $1 million split is gonna go 300K to the World Championship, 200K to the Pro Tour, 200K to Callings, 200K to National Championships, and 100K to the Battle Hardens.
So I guess on their previous announcement, they didn't have battle hardens, which makes a lot of sense because that's sort of something they added mid-season, and that's probably why they mentioned their total prize pool was it's a weird number. Like they had gave out it wasn't a million. I think it was like 1,063,000 or something. So if there's 30 battle hardens, they give out I think it's about like 2K in prize pool. That sounds about right. So they're probably incorporating that battle hardened into it and just reducing the callings prize pool by a little bit.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. And honestly, I would, from what it looks like, are they? I wonder how battle hardens are changing. I'm just gonna take a look real quick at battle hardened leads prize pool. Just 1 second. Was it always $500 for top prize for battle hardened, or somewhere close? Because it looks like it's a $2,000 pool
I
for
think
battle
I think it's
hardens.
always been $2,000 prize pool. Let me double check. So I'm pulling up Battle Hard in Portland here. Yeah, same price pool. 500 for first and second, 250 for third through fourth, and then fifth through eighth each at 125. So it looks like the same.
Oh, okay, okay. So it looks like that's not gonna be changing.
Yeah, so same price pool, more Battle Hardens, and it's now part of that $1 million organized play prize pool that they're assigning for the year. So overall, like things aren't changing that much. Biggest change is that there's one PT, more callings, more Battle Hardens, and otherwise mostly the same.
How did you like it this year? Was the OP system good for you? Bad for you?
Honestly, I think all things considered, Flesh and Blood's organized play system has been a huge strength of the game. I think it's pulled in a ton of players, and I've had a just a really great time doing it. It kind of feels like it took a lot of the strongest parts of some of Magic's old organized play systems that people really, really loved, and has really made a go of it. And I think that while they're I know that there's some pain points that people talk about, like lack of lead time and all of that, which we can talk more about soon. But I think the thing to keep in mind is, in a lot of ways, this is Flesh and Blood's first year with their full program. Like we did have nationals the previous year, and they've done some callings, and they had some events, but not on the global scale and not the number of events that they ran this year. And that is a massive, massive undertaking for a company that's sort of still relatively new. Like Legend Story Studios hasn't been around that long, and I think that overall, I hope that they feel really good about what they put together, because I think it was really successful, even if it wasn't perfect. And what's nice is that they're now refining that and trying to work on it and trying to address a lot of the things that I had problem with, like not enough lead time between events, and sorry, not enough time between events, like just too packed of a schedule, and giving more lead time, letting us know about events sooner in advance.
Last thing I just wanted to ask, or one of two things I wanted to ask, but let's start with this one. How much did you make during the 2022 organized play system? Like, how much of the prize pool did you take home?
So less than Michael Hamilton is the short answer. um,
Well, Michael Hamilton's a monster, right? He took at least like 15% minimum, right, of the whole prize pool.
I think they talked about this on MNR. I think it was like around like 12, like 11 or 12%, which is
Oh,
incredible.
that's so
So
gross.
yeah, huge shout out to him. I mean, if you win worlds, you're always going to have a massive chunk of the
Yeah,
pie
you
there.
get 10% just from Worlds.
Yeah, yeah. So congrats to Michael Hamilton, well deserved. But my earnings was, I had a top at PT New Jersey that was 750. I had a top 8 at Calling Lille, which was 750. I top floored Canadian Nationals, which was also 750, and then I top 64 Worlds, which was 1500.
Which comes to a grand total of?
3,750 US dollars, not counting like promos or pro quests or other stuff.
Well, ProQuest don't have cash. Oh, you mean like store credit pricing?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
We're just
So it's
talking
not,
about the.
yeah. So that's what I got from that $1 million announcement. So not a huge amount,
Yeah, yeah,
sub
fair enough. Well,
1%.
still a lot more than a lot of people, right? Like,
Oh no, for sure. I'm thrilled to have done as well as I did. I just mean, compared to some of the mighty, I had a small piece of the pie there.
yeah, I took home a very small piece as well. I have a top 8 at a battle hardened in Vegas, and a um, this is a the top 8 at Canadian Nationals as well. So my total came up to 625 US dollars. So you know what, a small piece, but some rebate on the game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of it is just, getting to play these really fun tournaments with your friends and, go out and talk about it afterwards. And it's a good time.
Yeah, it's been real fun. And the last thing that I have on my schedule today will be they've made the announcement for the first like quarter of the year. Are you planning to play on any of these callings or Battle Hardened?
Yeah. So, first, I'll say that I'm a big fan. I know some people are still critical about not enough lead time, and I agree that it could be improved, but I'm a big fan of them at least extending the lead time. Like we have up until March, which is pretty good. That's like just over 3 months. And then they've also said that they're working on it and they're expanding the team that does it. So props to LSS for improving that system. I think it's showing, and as long as they're still working on improving it, then that's awesome. Um, this first round of events, though, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to play. Battle Harden's just, especially when they're across the country, it's just a lot to. It's hard to justify flying there. I'd like to make the calling, but it's right at the start of the school year. Well, not the start of the school year. It's the start of the new semester for me. So I would have to. The only way I can go is if I miss the first day of class, which feels. I could do it, but it feels a little bit irresponsible.
But it is possible.
It is technically possible. I could request the first day of the new semester off and then see what my boss says.
Yeah,
But
and we're talking about calling Indiana. How do I say this city? Indianapolis. No, that doesn't sound right.
I think it's Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. Okay, I'm not gonna try. But yeah, it looks like this event's classic constructed and right after, or is this in the middle? No, this is right after ProQuest season.
Yeah, it's right at the very tail end. And yeah, it should be a pretty cool event. I wish I could go. Yeah. I'd like to have played in more callings, but it's just it's tough. We need some closer callings and then I'll be going for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. A drivable distance would be ideal because then I can just be a tank and drive at like a very unreasonable hour and like get there.
What's a drivable distance in your books, Jay?
Like Vegas is somewhat drivable. Like that's like 12 and a half hours I think, or 14 hours from Vancouver, I thought.
Ooh, okay.
It's like it's that was pretty far. But
So that's
like
kind of like about like the limit is about like 12 to 14 ish.
yeah, like if I can do like a 12-hour drive to a calling, I would definitely do that. If it's cheaper than flying there. But like Vegas is just cheaper to fly there than to drive there.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd be willing to drive about 8 hours max, probably.
Oh, actually, sorry. Vegas is 22 hours to drive there. I
Yeah, it's pretty
might
far.
I still might do it.
There you have it. If any event managers are listening and want Jay to attend, you just need to drive. You need it within a 22-hour driving distance, and then Jay might drive there and show up
Yeah,
for
if
whatever
it's
that's worth.
typically it's just easier to fly like these distances, and it's so much cheaper nowadays to fly. But yeah, honestly, like Seattle will be amazing. Portland, pretty acceptable. Anywhere in Oregon, pretty acceptable. Actually, I would love it.
Are you planning to go to any of the events? I take it as not so much, but
No, so the events that are coming up is like, as we said, Indianapolis and Auckland. Those are a little bit too expensive for me to go to. And then the five Battle Hardened that's announced, three of it's in Europe, which I'm not going to. The New Jersey ones on January 13th to 15th. I'm actually going out to Calgary to play poker for a week, so I can't go during that. And Charlotte, I haven't decided yet, but that's in March, so I'll decide a little bit later.
yeah, New Jersey and Charlotte are pretty tough for Battle Hardened. It ends up being pretty expensive to fly there, and I think if you come in first, you might break even.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go to Charlotte, it would have to be like I would need another reason to go. Like if it's a different card game tournament on the week after, or like if there's like a poker event going, or something like that, where I would stay for longer than 3 days.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. This sort of the same reason I went to Lille. I don't know that I would have done what some people did, where they just like flew in for the weekend and played. I went because I could go for a vacation, so I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would have joined you, but again, I rolled my Leo funds away on a craps table, so that happened.
Indeed.
Okay, I think that's a good episode for today.
All right, that's going to wrap us up for this week. As always, thanks for listening. You can find me on Twitter at YukiLeeBender, or you can find Jay on Twitter at UedaJ. And yeah, give us a comment or give us any feedback on our YouTube videos if you have suggestions for things that you'd like to hear as we're heading into ProQuest Season 3, I guess. And is there certain content that you're looking forward to help you get ready for that upcoming ProQuest? Let us know in the comments. And we'll see you all next week.
Okay, sign off. Sign off. I don't know what to talk about. Oh, actually, I do know what I want to talk about. Well, this is gonna come out on the 21st, right? This episode. So if anyone's like watching it close to live, Merry Christmas. The Christmas is gonna be on the Sunday this year. I'm sorry, Yuki, you were trying to say something?
No, go ahead.
So this year, with all of my poker buddies, we're gonna have a Christmas party with the guys, with the boys. We're doing a white elephant poker tournament. The buy-in for the poker tournament is gonna be a gift. And this year we're just saying no limit on the gift. Like you can bring whatever you want. It can be like a $1 thing or $100 thing. It just doesn't matter.
Okay. And then,
Yeah.
so how does everybody get a gift, or does the winner get all the gifts? How does that work?
No. So yeah. So everyone's gonna get a gift. Have you ever done White Elephant before?
Yeah, I have. So is it just based on like whoever finishes first gets the first pick
No.
of
White
the gifts?
Elephant. You actually want to pick last.
Oh, because you can take from anybody else, right? So it's the other
Correct.
way around. Right,
Yes.
right.
So how we're gonna do it is so I guess we should explain White Elephant for anyone who doesn't know. So a White Elephant Christmas exchange is something like if you're doing like a bunch of like friends, instead of getting a gift for like everyone, you bring one gift for the party, and typically you like draw to see who picks first, and someone picks a prize and opens it, or picks a present and opens a present. The next person can either take from the person that already has a present or take from a new batch that's like hasn't been opened yet. So you can basically steal presents from each other, and then that just keeps on going until everyone gets a present. And that's how you do a White Elephant. It takes like infinite amount of time, but it's pretty fun. It's like a good Christmas party event thing. How we're gonna do it this year is we're gonna play a poker tournament, and the moment you bust, so you get eliminated from the tournament, you pick a prize.
Oh,
Yes,
I
it's
like
all
it.
gonna be wrapped. You can open it, and whatever you get, that's what you get. But the next person to bust can steal from you, right? The anyone who places lower than you in the poker tournament, or from the new gift from the center.
Ooh.
So still, your objective is to get in a high placement in a poker tournament, so people can't steal back from you. But you can there's gonna be a lot of stealing and that going on.
You know what's amazing? I feel like, so when you asked me if I had done White Elephant, I was thinking back, and I have done it. And when I did it was in elementary school, and I was just thinking back to how I, like, as a teacher, I can't imagine somebody doing this activity now because somebody would be upset about their gift getting taken, and I just don't think it would ever fly. So it's just kind of funny thinking back to like that was our, like, I think I was in like grade 6 or 7 or something, and we did this as our class gift exchange. Everyone brought like a $10 gift or something.
Whoa. And you can't imagine you doing it for your students now.
I don't think I'd go there. I
Okay,
don't
that's
know.
fair. That's fair.
It's probably fine. It's just like if one person gets upset, then it's not great.
Okay, but the reason why I want to talk about this is because I'm a really like heavy gamer, if that makes sense. Obviously, I'm just like, how do I get maximum value from this game? Okay.
Okay, so what is your strategy to get maximum value from this game, Jay?
Okay, so this is not really a maximum value because like for this to even like this whole like my whole idea to make sense, I need to be willing to like gift a really big gift. So in short, what I'm bringing is gonna be I put in a collector's booster of a magic collector booster of Brothers War, a Unfinity collector's booster. I put 3 Yu-Gi-Oh packs from the most recent set, and I have 2 Arcane Rising booster packs. So it's like actually quite a bit of booster packs that you get, or what I'm
So is
bringing.
so is your goal to get your own booster packs in the end?
I might is the thing. Okay, but the honestly like the whole concept was like bring something you might want, right? Just in case, like the basically it's like yeah, bring something you might want anyway. So like if you get it back, it's like it's not even that bad.
Right.
But either way, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy a box of cereals and I'm gonna put my booster pack inside the box of cereals and reseal it. Okay, it is not. It is definitely within my range to bring just a box of cereal with nothing inside but the cereals.
Oh my goodness.
Like definitely in my range. If somebody opens my box of cereals, they're not gonna expect anything that there's anything inside. Now, do you see where this is going?
I can just imagine at the end you opening your box of cereal and opening boosters.
Yeah, you're just gonna be like, oh wow, there's like $75 worth of booster packs in here.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
I hope
and
somebody's gonna be like, what if it's like not even sealed? And someone's like, wow, it's not even sealed. The box is open.
no. I was thinking either to hot glue gun it back down.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna make sure, people. But it's just like not. It's just so within my range to just bring a box of cereal to this thing.
It really is. So if Mateo's listening, he's gonna know. Ooh.
No, our gift exchange is tomorrow. I'm not gonna release this episode's coming up on YouTube and Spotify on the 21st.
Ah.
Yes, and we're doing this gift exchange on the 20th.
All right, you'll have to let us know how this gift exchange experiment goes.
Yeah, and one other thing, just to spice things up, I have told exactly one person coming to this event what I'm planning on doing, but I haven't decided. I haven't told him the amount of value that I put inside the cereal. So I just want to see how this plays out and to see if there's some kind of like bargaining going on about knowing what's inside my box of cereals.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I can already see the face. Like I can already imagine the face of like the host. He's gonna be like, "Who the fuck brought a box of cereals?" I can already
And then
see him saying this.
if you lose, you'll get stuck with your own box of cereal,
No.
and then you'll open boosters.
The sickest moment is I get like somewhere in like there's like nine of us or 10 of us going, and if I get like seventh place, and I'm like, I'm gonna steal your box of cereals. I'm just gonna sit on it, and everyone's gonna be so confused.
All right, I'm interested to know how this goes. You'll have to let us know next week
Yes, I definitely will. I definitely will.
how your experiment goes.
Yeah, it's gonna either. No matter what happens, though, it's gonna be fun.
Does sound like a fun way to do a gift exchange.
Okay, I think that's good. Night. Good night, everyone.
Merry Christmas.